Today we're going to take a look at a play from the split pro formation. John Madden is the playbook that I like to use, and the play is called QB Rollout. So the other day I was messing around with the legendary playbooks in practice mode and saw this play called QB Rollout. It's not a play action. The quarterback just automatically rolls out even if you don't touch the controller. And I noticed that the C route might just be the perfect route for an auto rollout. I tried it out a few times in practice and it was deadly against random defenses. It was completion after completion, but you know, that's just practice mode. There's a reason that I show gameplay footage in all of my tips, because we need to see if it works for real in a game, because so many routes get wide open in practice and don't work in a game. We need to make sure that even with a user defender lurking, that this play is still going to work. So I get into a game with Shutdown, who is the Seahawks. You just saw those highlights. And I ran this play over and over and over. Literally 90% of my entire play calls was just this one play. And it just kept working and working. Now, as you see here, the first set of clips I'm showing is the main target, which is the B receiver, who, as you're going to notice if you pay attention to these 25 examples you're looking at, destroys man coverage, destroys any click-on attempt in man or zone, and actually picks up an even bigger chunk of yards if they do try to click on and make a play. And furthermore, even with cloud coverage, he still catches the ball despite 3 defenders surrounding him. On top of that, anytime it looks like I made a bad read or threw into coverage, he's going to get an animation, whether it's falling to the ground or sticking out one hand or diving, just looking all weird while he's trying to catch the ball, but he does catch it every time. So, despite getting the rollout animation automatically, I personally do still manually roll out. The CPU gets it started with the rollout, and I continue to roll manually after that, trying to get the furthest to the outside that I can. I tried using the same method in other playbooks with play action rollouts, and even tried it by canceling the play action to see if I could get far to the outside like in this play, but it's just not the same. I played like 5 or 6 games using this against good opponents, and I literally ran this 85 to 90% of all of those games, mixing in a run, you know, just here and there, a pass here and there, very rarely, just enough to keep them guessing, and I couldn't be stopped. The only time I struggled was when one of my opponents started putting a purple on his outside corner, but then I would just run a slant for an easy catch. Or sometimes, if he really was trying to sell out, I would put B on a streak. So, just like the play action and ace pair chief I showed the last few days, I love rolling out all the way, and if nothing is open, I just throw the ball away and live to fight another day, no big deal. I just really find this route to be that effective. I mean, just look at the coverages, and we're still making the catch. And some of the misses that is happening when they're clicking on trying to make a tackle, it's really glitchy, and I like it. So the only adjustment that we're going to make on this play is with the tight end. Mostly we're going to put him on a streak, but the rest depends on the coverages that we're going to see as we run this play more and more. If it's a zone that we can pull down with a flat route to leave the B receiver wide open, then we're going to leave the flat route as is. Otherwise, we can put the tight end on a whip route and either plant our feet if we see him early, or we can just roll out like always and hit him underneath the B receiver or underneath the user defender trying to manually cover B, and we can pick up a few yards that way. Now the tight end on a streak, though, is really going to pose problems for user defenders trying to control the right safety and make a play on the C route. This year, it's really hard to recover, unlike the old days with the new foot planting system. Like you've heard me say before, one false step and it could be 6 up top. Also, the fact that we're not always putting the tight end on a streak is really going to be just enough to leave the user defender flat-footed at the snap. Respecting the play and the options that we have available to us, he's always going to be worried about that B route. So if he tries to make a step there, or if he tries to cover the tight end, it's really just going to be a tough situation for him. Now, even though I did test this against really good players, by using it literally all game, I would still recommend this as your go-to play when you need to pick up first down or get into field goal range, just anytime it's really important. I'm also not sure how many of you do use the legendary books, but there is some really nice, unique stuff in there. I definitely suggest that you check it out, especially with this play. If you love ball control with just nice, simple scheming and a West Coast style offense, outthinking your opponents, the legendary books are definitely something you're going to want to look at. The downside is we can't set formation autos, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. Take a look at this example of man coverage with the post route, the X receiver running across the middle of the field, literally step for step, shut down, clicks on, tries to make a play, and is just not able to. The X receiver on the post is such a sneaky route in this play. While our opponent's trying to do everything that they can to stop the C route, the X receiver is cutting across the middle. It's impossible to manually guard the C route, the tight end, and the post, especially when in man coverage and he looks covered. The ball is in the air, looks like it might be a pick, but for some reason, at least in my experience so far, the defender hasn't been able to successfully click on and get the pick, despite being on top of the receiver step for step. But like I said, it's only been about 5 or 6 games that I've played so far. I just really find that receivers get the upper hand or the good animations for us anytime it's a close call. The only detail is make sure you set your feet before throwing the ball to X on this play. And finally, the halfback on this in route, which is unique in the sense that it's deeper than any in route that we can hot route to out of the backfield, isn't something that I look to too often, but it really does provide a nice bailout option from time to time. So there you have it, QB rollout from John Madden, Mike Ditka, Tom Landry, or Tom Flores is a really nice play for anyone to use using these playbooks. Also, if you happen to find any other QB rollouts in team playbooks, let me know.